Welcome to A Simple Life. I'm Cal. Yesterday we got back from the Mustang competition, and if you didn't see that video, well, go back one video and you'll see it, and take a tissue with you because you may need it. Just what a cool story. Well, I came back and my pigs are gone. They were here when I left and they're gone now. Well, the boys did a huge favor for me while I was gone. They moved the pigs all the way down there, and they did a great job. Let's go take a look. I had asked the boys while I was out of town if they would mind moving the pigs for me, and they said, yeah, we can move them. Get it back from the fence a little. Good job. So they moved them, and they did exactly what I asked, which was put them right underneath the edge of this apple tree. There's two apple trees here. So they would have shade, they would get some apples, and on top of having shade and getting apples, they would be in an area where they couldn't really do any damage to the apple trees themselves. The boys let them out, and they brought feed down here and fed them down here, set up the fence around them real quick, and then they got them water, got everything hooked up. Just about a quarter bucket of grain, okay, buddy? I would do it on top of the tomatoes, but that's too late. Don't worry about it. Yep, that's enough. There you go. Good job. So the pigs are here now, and they will have this for a couple weeks, and then we'll probably move them again. And they've had apples dropping in here, so they got plenty of good, yummy feed that's gonna make absolutely delicious bacon. As well as, we're still getting lots of tomatoes from our neighbor who has an organic tomato farm. So overall, pigs are doing really good. We're gonna go check on the goats now and just kind of see how everybody's doing, because I've been gone for 4 days. I don't have to wonder too hard because I get an endless supply of text messages from the boys telling me how everything's going, with videos of all the little shenanigans they get into.
When you can't load the tomatoes up.
One day they even managed to run my chainsaw. Very, very convincing chainsaw. Yeah. So, so yeah, they have a good sense of humor and they like to get me going. And so I'll get a text saying, oh, we cut down stuff with your chainsaw, and then I'll get that video. So yeah, they're good boys. All right, well, let's go see the goats and see how everybody's doing. And we're definitely gonna cut down some food for them. And, but the pigs look happy. They definitely look happy. All right, well, as you saw, my goats were ready to eat. They got plenty of stuff in here. There's a ton of browse in here now. Oh, I shouldn't say a ton. There's a good amount. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll get some more on the ground. We're starting to get into fall. And once fall hits, I can't do this any longer, and I'll have to start moving them into actual pastures. Areas that have browse in them that isn't cut. Because as we get into fall, obviously, there's no more browse. When it comes to this type of browse. There's browse in other ways, blackberry bramble, that kind of stuff, but no more cut grazing, as I've been referring to it as. But yeah, so we'll just continue to go through. Everything I took down today was maple and cherry. I'm down in this ravine, and you know, I actually had a conversation, very interesting conversation with a logger the other day, and I asked him if he'd had any experience with goats in timber, running them in an area that had been logged off. And he goes, oh yeah, it happened to us. I said, really? I said, because we're organic, so we're not going to be spraying if we do any logging. And he goes, oh yeah, well, our neighbors had their goats come in and they basically ate everything. About half of the area is going to have to be completely replanted. I said, wow. I thought about it for a minute. I go, by any chance, did you spray? He goes, oh yeah, we sprayed everything. The only thing that was in there was Doug fir. I said, well, that's why they ate it. They were hungry. They ate whatever was green. He thought about it for a second and he started laughing. He's like, yeah, you might be onto something. I started thinking about this idea of how do we get forest, these old growth forests, or even like the forest right here behind me. That wasn't replanted when it was logged back in the 50s. It wasn't replanted. Everything that grew there just grew there because it grew. Like literally, all those Doug fir are just growing there. Nobody replanted them. They weren't planted before that because that was old growth. So this is second growth, and nobody replanted it. Interesting. Okay. Well, Herman's told me stories about the deer in here being so thick that you could just follow a rut that was 8 inches deep through the woods, and you'd eventually find deer. Or you could just sit on the side of the rut and wait for the deer to come by and get one. It's very interesting, the density of the animals around here. So I'm kind of using my goats as a stand-in for the dense herds of deer that used to be around here. Now, if I were to clear cut an area and then come in and clear all the brush off and then plant anything, the goats are going to eat it. So I'm contemplating doing some tests of areas to see if they'll eat Doug fir, because I really am interested in whether they'll eat it. I've already done a few tests and they're not eating it. They're not touching it as long as there's other things around. Now, if I didn't have anything around, I guarantee they would eat it, because they'll eat anything when they're really hungry. Just about. So anyways, I just figured I'd share that because some of what I'm doing down here is really kind of training goats to eat the way I want them to, with the idea that I may be able to actually use my goats to manage a stand of replanted Doug fir. It's just an idea. I've been contemplating it, thinking about it. And if deer could do it, why can't goats do it? And deer did do it in this area. Herman said about 40 years ago, the deer population fell off. But I've looked at some satellite images, and you can really see a drastic increase in population around here in the last 30 years, 20 years, actually we'll say 20 years. A lot more houses being built, a lot more vineyards, a lot less forest, and you kind of put all that together and you're going, okay, that's going to definitely drive the deer population down, because people aren't going to want them eating their grapes or eating their vineyards or eating their roses in their front yard. So I kind of put all that together and I'm realizing, okay, I need to mimic what was originally here if I want to keep growing what we have here, or maybe even in the future somewhere else. So it's just a bit of an experiment. We'll see how it goes. Well, we are going to get home and relax for the evening. It's been a very long weekend. Today is Labor Day, and I'll tell you right now, I've worked pretty hard on a Labor Day. So thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one, and thank you boys for all your help this weekend.
Bye.
Bye.